Good morning, my beautiful girlies. It's Grace, and let's hop right in to this makeup get ready with me. So, for today's topic of discussion, should emojis be considered as a universal language? I think that this is such an interesting question because we literally use emojis all the time, everywhere, and everybody around the world uses emojis for different things, obviously mostly to communicate with each other. And I just think that that is such a great question because, we're such a diverse group of people. Everyone isn't the same. So it's, very interesting that little animation of stickers could be considered as a language. And I'm going to give y'all my opinion on if I think that emojis should or shouldn't be considered as a universal language. So I think that emojis should be considered as a universal language, and here are my reasons. So the first reason why I believe that emojis should be considered as a universal language is because emojis can say 1,000 words. And what I mean by that is I know that we all know the saying that pictures can say 1,000 words, and I genuinely believe the same thing of emojis. Not sure if that's even the right shade, but it's okay. What was I saying on my last topic? I genuinely think that emojis can say so many different words, and it does tell us many different words anyway. Emojis can definitely, reveal or, not reveal a certain kind of emotion. Ooh, wow. Yeah, this is not the right shade whatsoever, but it's okay, y'all. We're gonna make it work. But yeah, I just think that with emojis, period, it can just convey a range of emotions. It can either convey, an emotional, message or a happy message. I think that you don't even have to, literally, you don't have to use words, and you could just literally use emojis most of the time. I think that's what most people do anyway. They just use emojis instead to speak, and they don't really use words. Wow, I literally forgot the most important step: setting my brows, you guys. Wow, I am everywhere. But yeah, I think that, you don't even have to use words majority of the time when you use emojis. I think emojis says enough words already. I think emojis already say the main message without it being too complicated. And yeah, I just think that there's really no need to use words whatsoever because emojis can convey such a simple message. I've even seen, some people literally just talk in emojis. You don't even need, words at all, like I said before, because talking in emojis is just, super duper fun. And, it can just definitely add for more interesting conversation, in my personal opinion. And I feel like it's just much easier sometimes to use emojis than to use actual words, because sometimes you can't find the right words to use, other times you can. It really just depends on the certain kind of context that emoji is being used for. So I think that's just really what it is. But yeah, y'all, there are literally millions and millions of emojis that are being used every day. There are more emojis that are going to be added in, and I feel like, especially, you know, for other races of people, more emojis are being added in, which is amazing. You know, we definitely want more diversity, and you know, I feel like it can also especially help, if, you are a certain race of people. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, like for Black people, like Black Americans, speak in Ebonics. So like some emojis can be literally translated in Ebonics, for one example. And, or another great example is if someone speaks Spanish, and you could use, certain emojis to speak, Spanish with, and all of that kind of fun stuff. What else? So, for example, if I wanted to, reveal, certain information, like, for example, like my goldfish passed away or something like that. I don't even have to put a lot of words. I can literally just like, put and say, like, a goldfish emoji, and then a dead emoji, stuff like that. And that's how it would already be solved in the first place, is literally just by doing that. Oh yeah, but y'all, and also the reason why I'm putting, concealer on that spot is because it quite literally, went everywhere, unfortunately. So I'm trying to like fix that. But yeah, I think that you can literally use an emoji to say literally anything. Like, it's really that easy, you guys, just to use a simple emoji for a little thing that you just want to talk about in the first place. But yeah, y'all, that's one of the first reasons of why I believe that emojis should be considered a universal language. The second reason of why I believe that emoji should be considered as a universal language is because it is used worldwide. So I actually said this in the beginning of my video, actually, when I was kind of like just going over like sort of like vague examples of, just like emojis in general. And that's actually, one of the things that I said. It's used worldwide. Not only is it used worldwide, it's just literally used, every second. I believe, and I'm gonna speak specifically for like, the iPhone, specifically, because I have an iPhone and I've mostly used Apple products ever since I was a teenager. So I'm not really sure for Android. I'm pretty sure that all phones have emojis, but the most iconic and most known one in the world are like emojis that are used by iPhone users, because those are the ones that are like brought up the most or like popped up the most, stuff like that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that, emojis are literally used everywhere, whether, they're used by individuals that live in big metropolitan cities or that live in urban cities, stuff like that. It's literally used worldwide. And, emojis literally can be used by everyone and everyone, since the world is obviously very, very different. it can be used by a multitude of people. And I think that the fact that everyone uses it is just so great because it makes us even more connected. You know, obviously, you know, social media makes us feel very, very connected, and, you know, makes us feel all together, obviously, but you can honestly say the same thing for emojis. And I, you know, even believe that emojis can be used literally by everyone, whether if, you know, you are, you know, deaf, and you know, can't really say what you want to say, but you can use emojis for that. Or if someone has a disability, they can, you know, use emojis, you know, in that sort of sense. And I just think that since everyone around the world uses emojis, you know, it might as well be considered as a universal language. You know, sometimes maybe some people don't even want to speak in their native tongue. Maybe sometimes they just want to speak in the language that is of picture art or pic art, which are emojis. I don't know. I think it's so interesting because years ago, like, we would never say that, oh yeah, like we would just use emojis for you know, every little thing, and it would just be very, very popular to use emojis and to, you know, talk with them. And I think especially as, you know, smartphones, you know, whether iPhones or, you know, Android phones have just been, you know, getting smarter, developing even, you know, better and nicer. And now there's even like you know, real life like emoji stickers that you could talk to. I'm specifically talking about iPhones have this feature. I'm not sure if you know, Androids have this feature. They probably do, but at least for iPhone users, there's this one live emoji where, you know, you can literally you know, whatchamacallit, speak, you know, to another person by literally using your voice to talk to them through an emoji. And I think that is just so cool, and it's just like super duper innovative in my personal opinion. You're just kind of like, wow, like, you know, I don't even have to, you know, use my own face. I could just use an emoji to talk, and that can literally just be good enough. I think it's also just very, very fun to, you know, use with everyone, since everyone uses emojis, and, you know, everyone is just so interactive with using emojis. I don't know. I feel like it's just very, very fun to use emojis for that reason. I think it's just so fun, since you're not the only one using it. The entire world is using emojis to convey a message. But yeah, y'all. But yeah, that is the second reason of why I believe emojis should be considered as a universal language. All right, you guys. So the last reason why I believe emojis should be considered as a universal language is because emojis add non-verbal cues. So what do I mean by this point? You know, and when I mean by nonverbal cues, I'm talking about tone, and I'm also talking about intention. So usually when we all use emojis to convey a message, you know, depending if, you know, it's a serious message, it is a lighthearted message, all of that fun stuff, you know. I feel like emojis do an amazing job by just getting you know, the tone or intention of a message across very, very, you know, greatly and very, very wisely. And also, y'all, I'm looking in my little mirror for this because it's just necessary. But anyways, you know, for example, with tone, like if I am, you know, speaking, you know, in an angry tone, or if I'm mad at someone, you know, I will, you know, literally use, you know, the really mad, fiery red, you know, cursing emoji, or just like the red emoji in general, to convey my message that like, oh, like, you know, I am really, really mad about this, and I am mad about, you know, what you've done. I think that emoji does an amazing job at conveying the tone of a message. I think it does a great job, you know, doing that. Like, because it adds like an extra, like, oh, like, you know, this person really is upset, because sometimes you can't tell by text message if someone is mad or not. So sometimes emojis can really help with that. And, you know, for intention, so say for example, if I am trying to, you know, tell my crush that, you know, I like them, and you know, I would just use like maybe some shy emojis or, you know, stuff like that to convey the message that I, you know, really, really like them. You know, maybe the other person on the other side can see like, you know, the message can see like, oh, wow, like that person really does have a, you know, genuine interest in me. So, you know, yeah. And I know that like those are probably not the best examples of using like, you know, tone and intention, but hopefully it kind of gets like the main point, you know, around, or it gets, you know, it just tells the main point actually. Yeah, y'all, that is the third and last reason as to why I believe emojis should be considered as a universal language. All right, you guys, we are done with this makeup look. I decided to just add really warm colors to it. I think it's super duper pretty. I don't know, I really, really like it. Well, you know, except for that big dot in the center, but well, now it's blended out. But yeah, I really, really love this makeup look. It just looks super duper pretty. And yeah, I hope that y'all enjoyed this makeup look. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you all enjoyed. I hope that y'all will have an amazing Monday, an amazing week, and I will see all of y'all's beautiful faces next time. Bye, guys.